Brilliance Audio.
Decimate by Christopher Rice. Performed by Karen Peaks. The earth under their feet shook with enough force to send gooseflesh up Claire's legs. Her flashlight was ripped from her hand, the beam bouncing wildly as it sailed through the branches. Then she felt like she'd been punched in the stomach, and her head yanked sideways as if someone had pulled hard on her straw-colored ponytail. In the next instant, she felt her brother's chest slam into hers. The same force that had torn her flashlight away had driven the two of them into a half-embrace. The rush of hot air on her face was his breath, she realized. He was screaming, but his scream was drowned out by a thunderous growl that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Her feet had left the earth. Since their bodies were intertwined, she realized his must have too. They were flying. Her ears popped like they sometimes did on planes. A landslide, she thought. But when Claire slammed back to the earth with enough force to knock the wind out of her, Poe was gone, and there was no tidal wave of mud and debris. Broken branches rained down, shorn leaves slapping her face. The pain of the impact was delayed, and then it spread. Her right shoulder felt like it had been torn open. The throbbing in her head became a tightening vice. She felt swarms of something crawling under her skin, scrambling to break free. She blinked, saw tangles of shredded and dangling limbs overhead, but it looked like there were two sets of everything, and one set was moving. She was hit by a light so blinding it stole time itself. The next thing she knew, the deafening roar had been replaced by a helicopter's blades, and she was staring up at several neat fluorescent rectangles. The floor underneath her rocked. She was high above the earth as medics conversed frantically over her body. A tight band across her forehead kept her immobilized. Now the pain was like spreading fire beneath her skin. She had a terrible fear she'd been burned, but when she jerked her head as much as she could against the restraint, she saw the arm of her jacket was shredded, not scorched. She couldn't turn her head enough to see who was next to her, but she figured it was Poe. When she tried to cry his name, she coughed up grit instead. Dirt. There was dirt in her throat from the force of the blast. It speckled the inside of the oxygen mask covering her nose and mouth. Claire closed her eyes, remembered what she'd seen before the blinding flash had claimed her, after she'd slammed back into the earth. Two sets of branches in the air above. One set had looked like it was moving away. Shadows, she realized. It was the branches, and then their shadows. Whatever the source of that impossibly bright light, it had moved toward them through the woods before drowning them in white. And these shadows, and the light that followed them, had come after the terrible blasts of air that had sent her and Poe flying off their feet. Like the light had been seeking them out after knocking them down. This seemed important, and she wished she could share it with the EMTs right then. But she was coughing, and the mask wasn't helping, and when it was pulled from her and she felt someone wiping at her mouth, darkness claimed her again. She heard her father's voice next.
"I saw it my damn self. It lit up the whole damn lake, and now you're going to tell me—"
"We'll do some more extensive tests, Mr. Huntley, but for now she needs to rest,"
another man said. She opened her eyes. She was in a hospital, and the man who'd just spoken was the doctor examining her. The touch of his cold, gloved fingers was dulled by the drugs in her system. When he saw she was awake, his brown eyes met hers, but there was something remote and suspicious in his gaze.
"Hi, Claire,"
the doctor said, and at this, someone shot up out of a chair in the corner of the room and rushed to her side. Her father took her hand. He was about to speak when the doctor said,
"Claire, Can you remember anything about the attack?